What do you hate about travelling? Is it the speed that you're going at? Is it the distance you're going at? Or is it the time it takes to get from point A to point B? Humans travel every single day. I bet you didn't know that. Nah, I'm just kidding. But a lot of the time, travelling really grinds my gears. For example, me and the fam have recently just got a new dog. It's a border collie? Yeah, it's a border collie. And he's called Charlie. Charlie the border collie. I actually went the extra mile, no pun intended, to go ahead and make him an Instagram. Now, most of you may think that that's sad, in which case you're probably right. But simply, the dog didn't want any. The dog fucking wanted no part in an Instagram. But I just made it simply for the fact to upload photos of the dog for anyone who's interested. I'm going to leave it in the link below if you're interested in the dog. So, yeah, go check him out if you're interested. But we all have to take turns to walk this little bastard to and fro the woods. And it's quite tiring because being a border collie, he's pretty much bred around sheep herding, which is kind of a pain in the arse because he's always pushing and pulling and dragging, and he's always dragging his feet. He's a bit of a picky bastard when it comes to his food, so really we fall out with him a lot and he makes a lot of noise. Being that he's a freshly born pup, well, not really, he's about 4 months. Being a freshly born pup, but ticking dog walking off the list, another transport I despise, and I mean, I will take this to the grave. Another transport I cannot admire is taking public transport, such as the bus. So let's say you're going to Meadowhall, right, or Sheffield, or into the city centre, or wherever you live. Instead of getting a lift, right, you take what is called a bus journey. Now, keep in mind, they're not the greatest form of transportation. You'll walk onto the bus, you'll either be sat next to an arsehole, the bus driver's an arsehole, all the upstairs seats are taken, so you're forced to go back downstairs in a moving bus, because the arsehole doesn't wait 5 minutes before you get downstairs. And the best point of all, you paid for that fucking thing. You paid for bad reception. It's ridiculous, and not only have you got to serve your own needs on the bus, the driver's needs, but you'll be sat next to some arsehole who's took all the papers from the front, so you've got nothing to entertain yourself while you're just going past the same tree over and over again. Do bus drivers work on watch time? Aeroplanes and flights. This has got to be one of, if not the worst part of public transportation. I have never ever liked travelling by plane because it's so bad. Think it like this. You'll walk into an airport. The queues are incredibly long, and let's say you had to get up 5 in the morning to catch a flight. Not only do you have to get up at the arse crack of dawn, where you'll have the least amount of energy, when someone tells you to go to bed early when you've got to catch a flight in the morning, you're not going to do that, are you? You're just going to treat it like a normal day, naturally. But when that alarm clock bursts in your ear at full pelt, you'll be under the pressure. Is everything locked? Is everything safe? Do I have everything? Are all the initiatives in the case? Will I forget anything? Did you remember to lock everything up? Did you remember to lock everything up? And you'll hear that over and over and over and over again. But let's say you're walking out into the blistering cold with your eyes squinting shut for the fact that you don't have any energy to waking up at that time, especially to catch a flight. So the next thing you know, you're packing all the suitcases into the back of the car, into which you will never have enough room. There has never ever been a situation where we can just get the bags in and go straight off. There's always space that needs to be made, and that's even more energy lost. So this time, you're pretty much going to collapse on the spot. But by the time you're in the fucking car, you'll pretty much have at least half an hour worth of sleep, which is not as much as what you were going to get on a regular day. But as soon as you finally arrive at the airport, you have to pay to park, which is fucking ridiculous. The price of parking these days is bullshit. You might as well just walk to the airport. And then as soon as you manage to pull all the cases out of the car, into which you're also going to have to rent one of those. You know those like trolleys where you put the cases on? There's never enough room. There's always someone who has to carry an extra bag. And then finally, as soon as you're at the airport door, you'll notice that the queues are pretty much leaving the fucking building. So that's it. You're sweating on the spot. You know full well that you're not going to make it to that sunshine parlour, and pretty much your holiday beneath you, everything that you've booked, is pretty much going down the fucking drain. And then, when all hope is lost, and you're finally at the cashier, ready to say that you're going somewhere, or you even booked the flight, or hand in the cases to check for all that sort of stuff, the worst and most stressful place at the airport is the security booth. That always makes me shit myself. And then you'll see that huge ass security guard simply twitch his fingers as a signal to send you forward, and you'll be walking up to the machines really, really slowly. And then the alarm goes off, everyone looks at you, security are ready to pounce on your sorry ass, and then you're getting searched, which that has got to be the most awkward part of an airport. You'll think that ordering a meal for £60 is bullshit, but this is extra bullshit. Like bullshit with a cherry on top. And then, as soon as you've been searched and you're carrying nothing, you'll pretty much be cowering to yourself. Like you don't want to talk to anyone, you just simply want to probably pop in some earphones and just try to forget the whole thing. I just want to travel, I didn't mean to get felt up. And then, finally, after you've ordered your £60 meal, you've gone to take a piss before boarding the plane, you have to queue up to board the plane, you have to have your passport and ID cards, everything ready. Are they called ID cards? Yeah, whatever. But as soon as you've had your passport checked, and then pretty much everyone else is having their passport checked, so when I was a kid I used to love running down those metal corridors, and even as a teen I still think they're fun to just bounce around in, because they have a really cool echo before you board the plane. They're always cool to just sort of let off some steam before boarding the plane. I wouldn't recommend doing anything in those metal corridors on the plane, because you're not really going to be the greatest person on the flight, are you? But then, another queue to board the plane, you'll touch the outside, you'll find your seat, which is pretty much a crowd as hell. You'll sit down, and by the way, nobody wants to be that arsehole in the middle who has to keep getting up and taking a piss every 2 to 3 minutes. But when you finally got on your seat, you sit down, you've strapped in, you've watched the aeroplane safety video, and you finally take off, that is what's worth all the stress, all the time, and all the pain that you've used to get to that moment. As soon as the satisfaction appears that you've just taken off and think, no going back now, no more queues or any of that bullshit, you can finally watch an aeroplane movie video, which they don't really do that anymore, which is such a shame. But also, what really grinds my gears the most is the aeroplane food. I always wondered, those little tray mats, apparently they never get cleaned. I always wondered, it's rare you see anyone spill anything on those trays, like, are they made out of pure blue tack? But then, after you've purchased your £70 glass of water, you can sooner relax more on the plane than you will actually on holiday, so that tells you a lot. So, personally, I don't think that all airport travelling is bad. I think the airport sucks balls, but actually flying is pretty cool. But finally, my final problem with transportation would be taxis. Personally, I just don't like taxis. Why do they have to be so fucking expensive? Are they known to be your personal driver? They're not, are they? Because usually, after they've taken you from point A to point B, they'll fuck off with some other cunt who needs to get from point A to point B. It's not really that special. Not all, but a lot of taxis have that. You'll see like a bar in front, it's like a box that tells you how much the taxi's going to be. Why the hell don't they have that beforehand? What I mean by that is, why do they have to trust a fucking machine to guess and estimate how far you're going to go, at what speed and what length it's going to be? Why trust a machine to tell you how much it's going to fucking be? That's ridiculous. Alright, well, let's say you do happen to go a really long journey and you do just so happen to take a taxi instead of catching a lift. one of the biggest and my final problem would be the conversations. Let's say you still have a friend at the back of the taxi with you. You're not really going to be talking much, you'll probably just be on your phone, simply because you don't really want a conversation with a stranger at the front car who's listening to every word you say. There's going to be restrictions what you can and can't do in a taxi. But, as a last note, is it true taxis go slower just to increase the price? I think that that's a pain in the ass, and I think it's true that they also go round and roundabout a couple of times to also increase the price. Are taxi drivers getting demonetised as well? Or maybe they run on watch time. Who the hell knows? Thank you for listening to me go on about all sorts of transportation problems. If you liked what you see, don't forget to drop me a like and leave me a comment knowing any thoughts, feelings or opinions you may have on travelling or transport, because I'd love to know. So, with all that out of the way, thanks for watching and I hopefully see you soon. See ya!